the COVID-19 hit economy, Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji went on to emphasize on domestic tourism till borders are open for international tourists. Obviously, the tourism and hospitality industry post-COVID-19 will undergo some of the most drastic changes in its history. Everything from the customer shift to virtual and mobile booking to changing travel habits is bringing novel challenges and numerous business opportunities for entrepreneurs in the field of tourism and hospitality. Entrepreneurship at the forefront of this growing industry, tourism industry may look forward to a paradigm shift in working out new investment potential and allied opportunities. The current landscape of the Indian tourism and hospitality industry presents a unique opportunity to novel business ideas to grow and succeed. Mizoram alone has remarkable promise as a tourist destination. The apple of the lost green surroundings of Mizoram with her tranquil gaze has plenty to offer to tourists who often are perturbed by the monotony of work and life system and wellness disparity. Better known as the songbird of India, the state, due to its moderate climate, has emerged as one of the favorable destinations for tourists. The broad culture and splendid festivals of the state carry an unconventional and enticing appeal which is beyond words and only can be experienced when one set foot in the calm and serene land of Mizoram. Those who are very much fond of nature and are in need of free oxygen, Mizoram is the perfect place for them as it keeps tourists in the vicinity of nature. This is the reason which makes people to refer Mizoram as a place is the perfect place for them as it keeps tourists in the vicinity of nature. This is the reason which makes people to refer Mizoram as a place where nature's spirit dwells. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor is working very hard and is always over my head to explore the nature and culture of Mizoram to the best of our tourism and hospitality advantages. Thus, entrepreneurship and startup opportunities through tourism and hospitality business are at an all-time high, so an exploration of opportunities is emerging as an area. Every tourist is looking to have the exquisite hotel coupled with a genuine experience. This originality and creativity can ultimately terminate in entrepreneurship development. Against this backdrop, an opportunity was given by AICT Atal Government of India to organize this one-week online FDP to delve deep into the issue with very eminent resource persons embracing the program. The total number of participants attending this program is 205, covering almost all states and union territories of India. Finally, I am highly optimistic that this program will meet its desired end. Thank you all. May I now request our guest of honor, Professor R.K. Northin Kumar, Dean, School of Economics, Management and Information Sciences, Mizoram University, for sharing his views on this pertinent subject. Dean, sir, please.
Bye. Good morning to all of you. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor KRS Sambasiva Rao, Professor Chitikantha Misra, former Director and present member, Board of Governors, IITTM, Government of India, who is also the resource person for the first session, Dr. Himanshu Basu Raut, coordinator of the program, and participants from all over the country. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome all of you to the opening of this one-week online faculty development program on exploring entrepreneurship and startup opportunities through tourism and hospitality business from 14 to 18 September 2020, sponsored by AICTE. Tourism and hospitality business as a distinct domain is gradually drawing the attention of academics and industry practitioners all over the world. It is rather considered to be one of the fastest growing economic sectors in India. However, entrepreneurship and startup ventures in the tourism and hospitality sector are still largely an unexplored area. Therefore, an exploration of this area can of substantial significance in addressing various social ills and complex challenges that are prevalent in modern society. The appropriate development of the tourism and hospitality business will improve the welfare of local communities surrounding or within the area of tourism destination. The development will also ensure economic and social sustainability. In the light of this, FDP is expected to set a new discourse on this emerging phenomenon by throwing light on its various aspects and dimensions. Also, the selected theme of the program showcases our common commitment to promoting tourism entrepreneurship. So I would like to congratulate the Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Mizoram University, for organizing such a program. I also hope that the program will culminate by forming a consensus which can be used to develop entrepreneurship and startup in tourism and hospitality sector. So I wish you all a wonderful journey through this 1 week program. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kalome.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words of inspiration. Now it is my privilege to introduce the distinguished resource person, Professor Sitikantha Misra, for the inaugural lecture of this online FDP. Our resource person for this session is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad and PhD in Business Administration. During his career spanning more than 4 decades, he has made significant contributions in the field of financial management, service management, tourism management, management of ethics, values, and corporate governance. He was the first academician to hold the post of Director, Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, IITTM Gwalior, a multi-campus institute of Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, a post which has been previously occupied by senior IS officers since the inception of the institute in 1983. Before that, he was also holding the post of Administrator, IITTM Bhubaneswar Center for more than 5 years, which was also been occupied by a former Commissioner cum Secretary, Government of Odisha. He was the chairman of All India Board of Hospitality and Tourism Management and a member of the Executive Committee of All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE. He has also served as the chairman of the Accreditation Evaluation Committee of National Board of Accreditation, NBA. He has been a member of many central and state government committees, including the Working Committee on Technical Education for the 11th 5-year plan constituted by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. He was also the Vice Chairman of the UN SCAP promoted Network of Asia Pacific Education and Training Institute in Tourism, APETIT, and President of the Indian Tourism and Hospitality Congress. He has been a member of School Board of Daegu and presently Mizoram University, as well as members of Tourism and Hospitality Board of Studies of many universities and institutes. He is associated in various capacities with UPSC, UGC, NAD, NCERT, IIMs, universities, and many other academic, cultural, and literary organizations. He is extensively traveled and widely published. Before we proceed to keynote lecture, I want to inform you our Honorable Vice Chancellor is shortly joining our meeting. So I have to check the connection with our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Then we will proceed this session. Yes, unmuted, sir. Unmuted. I want to inform all learned participants as well as invitees that our Honorable Vice Chancellor somehow busy with some important assignment, and he will be joining with us shortly. But it's now to start our first session with our profound resource person, and it is our privilege to have Professor Mishra, Professor Siddhikantha Mishra sir, to be the right person for this right occasion, and let us listen to him. Sir Siddhikantha Mishra, sir, please carry on your session, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Himanshu, am I audible? Perhaps you have kept your mic mute. Anyhow, Namaste. I profound respect, regards to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, Professor KRS Sambasiva Rao, who will be joining soon. The revered Dean of the Hospitality Management and other areas, Professor R.K. Aruma, the coordinator of this program, Dr. Himanshu Bhushan Raut, other dignitaries, and participants, ladies and gentlemen, I join with the organizers and particularly with the coordinator to welcome all of you to this development program sponsored by All India Council of Technical Education of our country. When I received the invitation from Dr. Raut, that they are organizing this faculty development program, it being a new center with much hope and aspiration, the dynamism of the present Vice Chancellor with the able guidance of the Dean and my previous colleague, Dr. Raut, whom I know for the last so many years. I'm sure this program will achieve its objective, and at the end of the program, the participants will return with a rewarding experience. Friends, the topic I have been assigned, the role of ethics and human values in entrepreneurship with special reference to Indian context. For a session of 1.5 hours, I thought I can try to touch upon what is ethics and ethical science, what do you mean by human values, how does ethics differ from country to country, and particularly the question always comes to the mind that following ethics and values can an entrepreneur or manager will be more successful than of not adopting, following ethics. When I was thinking about it, came across many Indian thinkers, the academics of the past. They are all of the opinion that dharmena rajyam vindate, dharmena paripalayat, dharma mula sriyam prapya no jahati no hiyati. I quoted it from the famous writings of Vyasadeva. What practically in those days the Honorable Minister Vidura had advised to the CEO or the king. Presently, when I address it to the students of tourism management, the entrepreneurs, contextually it is same, but in place of the state, we can think it is for any organization. It may be a business organization, it may be a non-profit organization, but all such organizations starting from home, it benefits only by adopting right principles. When I say right principles, it's very not exactly the term of dharma. Dharma is much a larger concept, very difficult to find out a suitable word in English. But yes, when I say dharma, it is not only the principles, the action follows to the principles. That is called dharma. So the meaning is an organization benefits only by adopting right action based on the principles. So through principles, through actions, the kingdom or any organization should be administered, should be managed. Dharma, therefore, is the basis of order, whether it is social or moral. Then when I say dharma, Gandhiji always said for him, truth is God for him. God is truth and truth is God, that Gandhiji all through has said it. We also pray to the Almighty that you are incarnation of truth. Jadevi sarva bhutesu satya rupena sasthitam. That satya is the basis of the dharma. We again said it very appropriately that satyana rakhyate dharmo vidya yogena rakhyate. Who will practically protect your dharma, your action? It is by the truth. Dharma or principles are always protected by truth. Similarly, knowledge is enhanced through practice. Yoga karmashu kaushalam. What is the meaning of yoga? To bring excellence. And particularly for the hospitality and tourism sector, unless you have the skill to put the theory into practice, it has no meaning. Friends, in new education policy, many of you must have gone through. It has all through emphasized that what we profess we must practice, what we say we must act upon, so that along with your knowledge, we can develop our skills and the right attitude to do it. The two things I will only keep it, other things will skip. So first thing is truth protects the dharma. Unless you follow the path of truth, you cannot. When I say path of the truth, you can tell others it is truth. But you cannot tell yourself that it is truth. You can cheat anybody else, but you cannot cheat yourself. You can take the shelter of falsehood. Similarly, for the students, for the teachers, how we can enhance our knowledge, that is through practice, through practice, through practice only. In accordance to the Taittiriya Upanishad, the first and the most essential virtue of an individual is to speak the truth. Gandhiji said, Satyam Vada. And the second instruction is to practice the virtue that is called dharma. That's why he says Satyam Vada Dharmam Guru. In the words of Chanakya, the famous professor of our ancient India, he said, Satyam Mata Pita Jnanam Dharmo Dhrata Tatha Sakha. He again has said the same thing which Vidura has said before, and in his words, truth is my mother. I am not saying it, is saying Kautilya, great economist, the great political thinkers. He says, truth is my mother, knowledge is my father, dharma is my brother, compassion is my friend, peace is my wife, and forgiveness is my son. The 6 virtues are my real relations, the rest are all false. Friends, then dharma fundamentally is the action of the truth, an ultimate guide to the right living and stability to the society. In India, our ethos of dharma, or virtues, is expressed as a synthesis of intellectual understanding and self-realization. But it's not to deliver a lecture in the class. It is to put into practice and go for a self-realization, which can be achieved by adherence to the eternal dharma as prescribed in the Vedic literature for the practical guidance of daily life. After going through the Vedic literature, Puranas, Upapuranas, when I also had a comparative study of our Vedic literature and the Bible written by Swami Sivananda, all these qualities have also been emphasized in the Bible repeatedly. Same also in case of the sermons of Buddha. It is also said about dharma, echoed by most other religions. That is what I thought to tell you. Whether you believe in any ism, but these are the fundamental truth for governance of an organization, whether it is a social organization, a cultural organization, or a business organization. Then let us come to what do you mean by ethics or ethical science. Ethics is science, as I told you, of a conduct or sadachar. It all depends on your achar, your behavior. Ethics study what is right or good in conduct. Friends, I'm sure that you know it, but sometimes it is difficult even to explain to others. Many things I know for myself. When I am asked to convey to others, I find the problem. We are the teachers when we go to the class, whether it is online or offline, our basic dharma is to answer the questions so that students do not return from the class the doubt. That's why many of our present day philosophers, gurus, starting from Einstein to Rabindranath Tagore, they all have said, we do not teach, we only provide conditions through they can learn. Rabindranath more emphatically again said, I learn and motivate us to learn. He learns not only to how to write poetry, how to write drama, he also takes participate, he all through us participated in the drama, in the Natakas. Not only he was giving lectures and painting, he himself was a good painter. That's what the gurus of the past, gurus in the recent past, that is what this type of guru or new education policy expected from all of us. Ethical science shows the way in which human beings behave towards each other as well as to the other creatures. Not that we have to behave properly to the human beings, because my friends, we are on this earth, not only the contributions of the human being, but the contribution of other creatures, contribution of other elements created by the Almighty. Someone very critically said, if for some reason the human beings will extinct, still the universe will grow, prosper. Human beings have come to the universe much after other creatures. So that is why not only you have to behave properly to the human beings, to all other creatures of this universe. Today we are facing this problem, environmental issues, because of our misdeeds, because of our ignorance, I will not say, because of our carelessness, because of our expectations. That has to be kept in mind. Practice of ethics will help us to live in harmony with our friends, with our neighbors, family, society, colleagues, and everyone. Keep our conscience clean, which in Sanskrit we say bhava suddhi, or purification of the motive. If your motive is pious, to do something wrong, even people will accept it. If the motive is not pious, then perhaps all your activities will ultimately not achieve its objective, and people will start suspecting you. At the end, you have to have a miserable feelings for ourselves. So not to have that, but to have a bhava suddhi, but to have a sankalpa, promise that I must speak truth, satyam vada, I must do the right thing, dharmam kuru, as our father of nations said. So that's why it is said, do as you would be done by. Do unto others as you wish others do unto you. Present pandemic situation, my friends, have come not of any other reasons for the misdeeds of our friends, misdeeds of our nations. The way we try to exploit all other creatures, whether it's animal or it's bird, that has in fact brought this pandemic. Many scientists are of the same opinion. whether it's this COVID-19 virus was created or not by China. The issue is not that, but we have created the situation through which, even if it is naturally created, it has come to the human beings. Just go to the food practice of our friends. Practice where things will help you to live in harmony. When I say you, I mean me also, with your neighbor, friends, colleagues, society, and that was I told you with the environment. Presently in Odisha and many other parts of the country, there is a tradition which we followed. It is called Pitru Paksha. And Pitru Paksha is nothing but to express our gratitude, create an awareness among our friends, relations, among our children, that what is the contribution of our forefathers, or the contribution of the nature, whether it is a forest, whether it is a river, whether it is an ocean, whether it is my guru. So as my father has created me, so also my guru has given me this knowledge. That's why we say, Acharya Stripandam. I say, Sarita Stripandam, I respect river. I say, Vanaspataya Stripandam, I respect the trees. All these elements are considered as a creation of the Almighty. It has an element of an Almighty. That's why you use it when you require to use it, and use it properly, not to misuse it. That is the meaning of this Pitru Paksha. That must have this Bhava Suddhi or purification. They told you again and again. Then question that many times said, what is the behavior? You know about behavior, still kind of behavior is the conduct of the person on a particular occasion. The day-to-day conduct of men and women at work, at a given time, to play alone, in company, in interaction with the students, among the students. The external behavior is not always a sure guide in judging one's person. Sometimes we say that if you have a good moral character, it's very, very honestly one has to accept. Sometimes the behavior we show to different persons, if one will take into account that not your internal feelings. Sometimes for some motives, you give a different picture, presentation of your behavior. My question is that after this saying that, what practically comes to the values? When I talk of values, values are the ideas that guides us in action. In this way, they're similar to the plans, goals, fears, intentions, policies, etc., etc. All these are ideas which guide us in action. Among these ideas, values alone, among these ideas, values alone, I underline, values alone concern the manners of our actions rather than the consequences or the mere fact of their performance. That is called values. If you ask me how to define values, as I said to you, like define dharma, in English, it's very difficult for me to express it. What do you mean by values, and even in English? There is a clear way to divide of the values. But that is a partial taxonomy. I can take help of it. How we aim to treat other people. The one way to know the values, honestly, openly, generously, without mercy. How we aim to act more generally, boldly, thoughtfully, carefully. These are some examples I've given so that you can taste about your values. Question comes, why do you have the values? Values guide us not just in action, but also the planning and goal setting. So values underline all the acts which we feel we can choose. Our goals, plans, policies, all the things as an entrepreneur will be busy unless you have followed the right values. Perhaps they may not able to achieve success. Chanakya said, Paropakaram Yasam. What is the Paropakara? He said that anybody who does something for the benefit of others without any personal interest, that is called Paropakara. Always you are busy for Shopakara. For our own benefit we do it. But if you do something for the benefit of others, that is called Paropakara. Paropakara Hitaya. They say that good people, they think more about for others than of the self. Even in this pandemic situation also, we have a discussions on seminar, webinar. The Indian ethos says that I am not worried for myself. Sarve bhavantu sukhino. It is for the others to remain in good health. Sarve shantu niramaya. They should not affect it with any disease. Sarve bhavantu sukhino. Everybody should remain happy. No one should suffer. Sarve bhavantu sukhino. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani paschantu. Ma kaschet dukkha bhavet. I am not worried for myself. Let my friends who are on the line, let all Indians, let all others on this earth remain happy. Let this corona be removed from this earth so that our friends will remain healthy. Those who have consideration for others, for their problems getting solved or destroyed, automatically they get the greatest satisfaction. They may not get the Padma Award, they may not get the Sahitya Akademi Award, but the award, the feelings, the satisfaction which will come internally, that has no comparison to all other awards. A great author like the creator of the another Ramayana, Tulsidas, when he asked why you wrote so many things, spending the whole time. He said, I do not have an expectation. Shanta Sukhaya Tulasi, Raghunatha Gatha. I don't expect anything from anybody. If I get satisfaction by writing anything, the same thing, great political thinkers, the artists, the doctors today are doing, they never concern the day the doctors or paramedical staffs will feel more for themselves, their health, their security, their family, all those who are in hospitals, including all others who are likely to suffer, like I am telling, or let others not suffer, but if anyone will say that doctors will be more concerned for themselves, I don't think in the present world, since all temples of churches are closed, who else will come to the rescue? But in spite of that, in spite of selfishness, many times we get the report they have not been treated. We should rather treat these doctors as God. There are aberrations in any profession. Not quote the aberration, but in general, those who are working in the COVID hospitals, We have a hospital, world largest hospital in Eastern India. I've seen the doctors, the paramedicals, dedicatedly they work for others. Leaving this job from Sikha Musalman, they can get many other jobs, but still they are not doing it because they are doing their dharma. Swadharma nidhanam seya paradharma bhayavaha. Even if I die by treating the COVID patients, I will never run away from my honest duty. That is called dharma. So many definitions have been given. I will give you these slides to my colleague, Dr. Himanshu, to share with you. So time is a constraint, so I will not spend more time on defining this element of. So that's why I will come back to the main issues on this. Sorry. Hence, my participants, when I say human values, I mean the values that guide us to take into account the human elements. As examples are given to you when you interact with others, human beings. Human values, for example, are love, peace, truth, right conduct, non-violence, respect, consideration for others, appreciation, listening is also a major quality.
परमिशन दे दीजिए हमें
করছো তো
না না শেয়ার করুন
ফোনে Then just for a repetition, I am told that many of the participants are interested to go through the slides. Yes, these are the slides I have prepared. Already have covered and shared. Also, after my presentation with the coordinator, so that I can mark copy to all of you. I am not repeating it. Now, I was just telling about what are the basic human values. These are the basic human values to know about it. The question comes how we do in our life. Whether we have a love or peace, truth or right conduct. When we expect these things from others, are we also following it? So types of human values, normally when I say it as same meaning of it, but yes, we have the, some people are different for their children, different for their families, but not for their colleagues, not for others. That's why they have a different style of functioning. But the great people, they do not have, the Buddha, Gandhi, never have. They behave the same way, both human beings and other animals too. There is a division of that, but I said that one is family values, professional values, there is national values, moral values, sometimes it's also called, some people it's a spiritual values. But to me, the values are common. When we interact with different group of people, how we adopted how we expect. I thought to put a right person, huge book if you go through in our country, you get enough, not information, enough knowledge. It's not knowledge, it is wisdom by Professor S.K. Chakravarti, a renowned professor from IIM Calcutta. The famous book, I'm quoting it, Management by Values towards Cultural Congruence. It has differentiated in this book management by objectives, management by values. Management by objectives means to achieve something, to get something, to sell something, to do something. Suppose I have given a assignment in a lecture, I have to complete the lecture. I am least concerned whether, in fact, my participants have understood, internalize it or not, but I am satisfied I could deliver a lecture, I could complete my courses as a class taker, not as a teacher. I have sold X unit of product or services. The management by objectives. So at the end of the month, end of the quarter, when my senior will ask me, I'll say, yes, I have taken so many classes, I have sold so many tickets, or I have sold so many essays or pens. That is called management by objectives. So how to achieve it? The hooker cook, sometimes over the table, sometimes under the table, some telephone connection, some pressure, some way to motivate others in a foul means. But in Indian system, we do not have management by objectives. Our forefathers all through have followed management by values. Management by values, not that my son must get a seat in Mizoram University or IIM Calcutta. If he gets a seat in tourism department of Mizoram University or a management in IIM Ahmedabad, it is fine. But if for some reason he could not, I should not think, or I should not tell my child that you are a misfit. It is not what he got, but the knowledge he must inculcate. That will help him. If not by IIM, he may get in Stanford, he may get in Cambridge, he may appear in civil service. Many other ways are there. But that is the difference between the management by objectives and management by values. In his language, values serve the process of becoming, in the sense of transformation of the level of consciousness to the purer or higher levels. They help us to distinguish between the short-term objectives, as I told you, and the long-term goals, between prayer, the present, and the shreya, that is the good. Skills are concerned. The method of doing in the sense of speed, dexterity, efficiency, etc., etc. Their values are of the essentially subjective, while skills are objective. Values are essentially subjective. Please underline where skills are objective. The concept of self of man has to embrace. In Indian context, I said the spiritual dimension. And words of Vivekananda, or in more appropriately by Sri Aurobindo, supramental thinking. Because that practically you can, our Indian spiritual system has said us. The dimension beyond its physical, social, and economic dimensions. The creative energies of human beings are derived from and rooted in the supreme creative intelligence. Management decision making requires an interplay of both analytics and holistic facilities. My friends, whether you be an entrepreneur or you would like to be a manager, these things have to keep in mind. Try to act upon it. The final resolution of managerial conflict rests on de-egonization of self. The moment we remain with a egocentric world, it's very difficult to accept others. The moment you leave that ego, many such great persons who must have read the biography, autobiography. So that's why I say, Namranti Gunino Namranti Padino Brukya. A knowledgeable people, they bow down. That's why Einstein said, I never teach my students. I only provide conditions through which one can learn. That's the words of Einstein. That's what I said to you, that if you Namranti Gunino great persons, they bow down, they're humble. But others do not follow it. For example, they say, if a tree is full of the fruits, suppose mangoes, it will obviously bow down. Nothing this year, obviously will remain straight. A beautiful example. The key to cooperation and teamwork lies in the progressive assimilation of that reality, and the same Atma dwells in all. If you feel that whom I am behaving, with whom, whether it's my dog, whether it is a cow, whether it is a human being. In all the religion, they say it is a creation of God, creation of Almighty, same origin we all have. If you have that feelings, obviously your behavior, your action will be different. The values will see. The ethical quality of managerial decision making can be improved upon through a full understanding of the internalization, the doctrine of karma. The doctrine of karma says what I am doing, what is my motive, how it will help others, not that how it will help me. Think beyond self. So unless healthy normative values are active within positive skills, many may always run the risk of adverse application in whatever works of life you are. Skills relating to leadership, negotiation, counseling, communication, public relation, all skills of any entrepreneur or a manager will be definitely safe depending on his value system. Neither as an entrepreneur nor as a manager, you can do anything. You have to depend on the people. You will do it through the people, sometimes with the people, but never of the people. Living the society, you do not have an existence. Yes, if you say that, sir, I am going to Himalaya, it's a different thing. But as an entrepreneur, as an educationist, as a social human being, you have to interact with society and you have to maintain that relation in which society will benefit. Friends, Professor Chakrabarti has given many other tips to us. So, but coming to the basic topics of the business ethics, when I have to address to the entrepreneurs, what I said to you, it is applicable both in business or in case of non-profit organizations. It is for the home, it is for the government. It is for Our country is same thing, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, to the whole world. That's my feeling. Coming back to that, how this is being applied in business, whether it's tourism business, hospitality business, manufacturing, or any other sector. This is the study of good and evil, right and wrong, just and unjust actions in business. All through, all managers face difficult ethical conflicts. Applying clear guidelines is the vast majority of them. When you work in business, sometimes it's very difficult whether I'm doing the right thing or wrong thing. And there is no clear-cut guidelines how to apply, what to do, what not to do. In this short span of 1.5 hours, I'll try to give you some ideas about it, so that can help you. Ethical traditions that apply to business support truth-telling, honesty, protection of life, respect for rights, fairness, and obedience of laws. Eliminating ethical behavior may be difficult. Because otherwise the world would not happen in the present situation. Yes, it's difficult. But knowing the rightness or wrongness of actions is usually easy. Not that we do not know what we are doing is right or wrong. Knowing it is not good, we do it. Because some ethical decisions are troublesome. So when you feel it is troublesome, not to solve it, not to go for it, solve it. So some types of managers, they're good in one way, which they cannot solve the solve it. That issue, that file, whatever. So that's another way of not facing the reality. Some ethical issues are hardened. It's difficult to find out whether this one should do it or not to do it. It's not as easy to define Bhavasuddhi, define human values, the character building, but in real life, it's extremely difficult to put it into action always. Yes, some ethical issues are very difficult to know. Not difficult, sometimes you think that if I say yes, it is wrong. If I say no, it's also wrong. So what should I do? Let's say Chanakya came with another sutra. That sutra I have written here. I'm told that many of you are not able to understand the Sanskrit meaning. I thought to give you, I cannot say exact translation, but I have tried to let it as far as possible. The meaning of this sloka is Tat klesham kshetrartha dharma sahi rummo sapurnamo paripatam te ayartham na bhavantume. I don't crave for such wealth. He has expressed it in the other manner. I do not crave for such wealth which is extorted by saddening someone, by irreligious and immoral means, or by seeking the shelter of my enemies. In the modern context, this could be interpreted as an unwillingness to get such wealth as may be received by immoral means, by torturing anyone or from the enemy. Without any loyalty to my country. The black money or the money received through the smuggling activities or through the treacherous deal with these enemies, what you said, the scams in the last so many years, that in fact Chanakya has advised us, before you earn such money, this thing, are you doing good for the society? Are you doing good for your family? Are you doing good for your future? That's the problem. So it is difficult to know what is good, think of in a negative way. If I do it, whether it is to be accepted as good or it is bad. You ask, what is that, sir? Theory of ethics. There are two different theories there. One is theory of morality and theory of immorality. The theory of immorality is that the business should be conducted without reference to any full range ethical standards, restraints and deals in society. Their opinion, it is the teachers in the class should talk about ethics, but we cannot follow that in the business. Many of students are, they say, sir, what you teach in the class is different than what practically we face in the industry. The simplest way is to say that the theory of this ethics are not practicable for them. That is called theory. That's why they say they have hardly any respect for it. Because most of the cases you find in the business, they do not govern by morality, they govern by the immorality. So in case of morality, immorality, the actions are not just moral because you earn money, because you are able to sell the goods, because you have reached the target. It's not a question of immorality. It's a question of immorality. So these theories of the ethical science, philosophers, because ethics have been borrowed from philosophy, they categorize in four ways: categorical imperative, ethical relativism, consequentialism, and humanism. I'm just giving some examples to you, so it will be easy to understand. Categorical imperative, like Gandhiji, for him, truth is God, God is truth. No circumstances is prepared to accept the untruth, to tell lies. Categorically, he say, it is good, it is bad. Some people, they say that it's a relative thing. When I should speak truth, when I should not speak the truth. I'm giving an example. Suppose it has some advantage, it has some benefits for others, but I do not have any benefit. Suppose a patient has come to the COVID hospital, already there is a congestion in the chest, he had previous problem of heart disease. So the critical stage, when he met the doctor, he asked, what is my chances of survival? So all the reports are, when the doctor examines, if you just tell him as a student of statistics, he say, no, your survival chance is 10%. your survival chance is only 10%, is telling the truth. But by telling the truth to somebody who is not prepared to accept it, not prepared to hear it, what will happen? You will die. Truth will say who can hear the truth. Doctor has not said anything wrong, though you say that he has not told the truth, but he has no personal benefit out of it. You only consider that if I say something which will give some moral boost to the patients, he may come up. He may take the challenge. That's what you say, Paropakarayo Sargayo. What I told you in this sense, Madarte Kriyate Papam Punnayam Parikalpate. If you do something, even if you have not said the truth, the words of many other Muni Rishis and Nandijis, it is false, it's not ethical, but I'm prepared to do it. Why? Because I can save the patient. So, because I have no personal benefit out of it. For others' benefit, no? I did it. Madarte Kriyate Papam. If so-called Papa and Punna, in case of categorical imperative, even if you say it is Papa, I accept it because I don't have personal benefit of it. That's why in our philosophy say, Swasthya Papa is considered as Punya, ethical relativism. Consequences, they have the only thing that if I am able to sell the goods, if I am able to achieve my objectives by hook or crook, that is called me ethics. The fourth category is they consider whatever I do, if it is good for the human being, then it is fine. Coming back to what is the sources of the ethics? Normally, ethics we borrow, ethics we learn, ethics we practice through our religion. Each religion has its own way of living. Hinduism is not a religion, that says. They say Hinduism is a way of living. But if you go through the Bible, you read Quran, you read Granth Sahib, all these religions have a common thing. Usually advocate for good things, which is good for society. Based on this, we have a subject which is called philosophy. The end of any subject is philosophy. The highest degree that's called as a doctor of philosophy. Whether it's an engineering student, whether it's a pharmaceutical student, or a student of tourism, or a student of physics. That has also impact on us. We have the culture. Why should I respect my father? Why should I take care of my mother in her old age when she's not able to do anything for us? The question comes, it is our culture. Because my father has given me this opportunity to face the world. It is mother who has taught me how to walk. If she is not able to walk in her old age, should I not extend my hand to her? Same that is we say, Pitara Deva Bhavo, Mataro Deva Bhavo, Acharya Deva Bhavo. That is what we have learned for the country. Janani Janma Humischa, Swarga Tapi Gariyasi, for me, my mother and my motherland is more than the Swarga. Whatever you said to me, that is the reason so many of our young friends are giving their life, supreme sacrifices is being reported in the borders of our country. So now in the borders of China, Tibet. So many young people died few days back. Whatever, they could have left the job with the defense, many other professions they could have, but no. To me, it is my motherland. Janani Janma Humischa Swarga Tapi Gariyasi. for me. I don't care for the Swarga. It will give me more than that. That practically the culture tells us. Nothing can happen. You should not do many things for the welfare of society, welfare of the animals, and for other elements. But still when you are doing it, so there is a pollution everywhere. Pollution in water, pollution in noise. When everything is polluted, how to do? It's not, they have least care for the ethical values, ethical norms. They don't care the religion. We are not following the religion. Least concern of the philosophy. In that case, if they fail to do that, law will come and protect it. If you do not do it, you will be punished for that. If you do not take care, as I told you, your old parents, the law has come in many states and the country. Supreme Court has said that on the salary, a person will be earmarked to your parents. Similarly, if you pollute water, then what punishment can be given? Then consult your rights. That's why these are the sources. That's why I told you what practically religion has given us to us. The great religions converse the belief that a divine will reveal in the nature of right and wrong behavior in all areas of life, including business. Christian managers often seek guidance in the Bible. Managers believe that Hinduism is influenced by the religious scriptures like Upanishads, Puranas, Vedas. In Islam, the Quran is a source of ethical inspirations. Similarly, in Jewish tradition, managers can turn to the rabbinic moral commentary in the Talmud and the books of Moses in Torah. In every such religions, you can find such things which can give you the direction to follow a right path. Similarly, as I told you in case of philosophy, our great philosophers who have studied the religious scriptures, books, and their thinkers, they have also guided us from Socrates, Aristotle, to the present day great philosophers like Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo, and many others. There's another way. Some fellows, they have the opinion, they always try to expedite the ends, as I told you. If by hook or crook I can put my son in the IIT selection, even he is not a good student, but I have other means to the thing that I have achieved my objective, rightly or wrongly. There are many such persons in our country, in the other countries, like the Machiavelli politics, that what is the question of life after death? So whatever you feel better, whatever you can enjoy on this earth, you have only one life, so you enjoy it. Enjoy it as you like. For you, no such ethics can help you because you have only one life, do as you like. Choice is yours. No? Choice is yours. You're not only in the other, in India also there are many such persons. They have the same philosophy. You know? They say that you borrow and spend it, don't repay it. That's what so many cases, so many scams are today. You know? So they say that you borrow and enjoy. You have only one life. The culture, it's very cultural transmits between generations, state or traditional values. It's not only family or family values. Each educational institution has a value. If after hundreds and hundreds of years, very many universities, they say today, no, It is not permissible in our university. They have their standards. They have definite acceptable behavior. You cannot do it. Many good institutions in our country, in AIMS you do not do it, in IITs you do not do it, in IIMs you do not do it. Same thing, a new university can create for itself, that in Mizoram we don't do it. You have to create it so that next generation will follow it. Because it transmits. How could a Gandhian do it? How can a Buddhist will do it? As a Jain, how can I permit you? How can I surrender myself? Being a Punjabi, being a Sikh, being a Bihari, being a Odia, how can I? It's for my country. I cannot. That cultural experiences. And I read it in case of our Mr. Maneksavan said it, that I think that soldier must be Gurkha. No other can do it. Because among these soldiers also say that who are dead events for their enemies. So starting from the hunting and gathering stage to the agricultural stage to the industrial stage, this have our own philosophy on it. Go ahead of it. So everyday human beings, they come across, and gradually from hunting stage to the present stage, with so many revolutions, we find many good things. And so many philosophies, so many religions have come to hunting stage to this stage. The school of ethical universalism holds that in terms of biological and psychological needs, human nature is everywhere in the same. And I said that when there is a difference between values, I said, yes, there are some differences in my mind because of the culture, but the basic things, as I told you, which one of the basic values are common. Gradually, you come across ethical relativism holds that although human biology in everywhere similar, so human values are common, so you cannot say that it's not known to others, it's known to everybody, but you do it as per your own conscience. In the presently, in the globalization, corporation struggle with the question how to apply conduct and codes of among the different persons who are from the different countries. But in spite of that, we find each of these corporations have their own culture. Whether it is Indian corporations of Tatas, or many other industrial houses, similarly in other countries. I told you every sector, it has a culture of it. So that in case of law also I told you, if you do not take the directly also, whether it is social distancing or using the masks, if you do not follow it, it's not bad for you. You're creating problem for society. You can be punished. So if you are supposed to behave responsibly when you go out of your home in this COVID situation, if you do not do it, obviously the law will take its own hand. So I have less time, my friends, in my hand. So just to give within 3 minutes, I've completed my lecture. So how practically in case of business, in other walks of life also, it influences an individual. I give an example that in case of Tagore's own institution Santiniketan, in case of Harvard, in case of IIM Ahmedabad, the alma mater, it has its persons who have started this institute, who are the leaders. As I said about the Tatas also, it has its impact. So the leader of this example is always matters. Who is the leader? Think of any institution, whether it is Mother Teresa's institution, it is Vivekananda's institution, it is Ravindra's institution, it is Shantiniketan, in Ravindra's institution, or in the scale of any school. Why such schools are different than others? Because of the leader's example, how the leaders behave, so also the followers. As the father behave, so also the children. If the father will come to the home the late night in drunken situation and he will say his children, be a teetotaler, I do not think it will have any impact on them. So you almost have read Gandhiji when he is asked, Bapu, what is your message for the posterity? He said, I do not have a message. Then he said, my life is a message, quote and unquote. My life, my message means what I don't profess, what I was doing, what I am doing, what I was, what I am, what I will be. This not by giving sermons, it is by actions. Not your by lecture, but of your deeds. The leader must be the example. In case of teacher also, it's give a 1 hour lecture on time management. I do not come to my class on time. Similarly, after that, what strategies you follow, the organizational culture and individual characteristics. In spite of all these things I said, individual matters. And the same leader, under same guru, with the same 4 brothers, you find there are differences because of the individual characteristics. But if you select ethical performance, it all depends upon whether you are an elevator position, you are an average person, or you are a compromised person. So these are these things in case of as a leader, we say that in Bhagavad Gita it is said that Arjuna, if you do not fight in this world, don't think that the Pandavas will be defeated. I only ask you to join because you are considered as a leader. Jaj acharate sastah tattati torojana. As the leaders behave, so also the teachers. As the father behave, so also the children. As the mother behave, so also the children. As the teacher behaves, so also students. As the principal, vice chancellor, director, they behave, so also the faculty and other staff. That practically we expect that India must have such leaders profusely to give this country the strategies, the policies, Indian culture, and many other things, my friend. With these, I think I'll close it. I will be happy if there are some questions to respond. So this is, thank you, my friends, for giving me 1 hour and half hour time to address you. Any question I will answer. Otherwise, I request the coordinator, Dr. Himanshu, to proceed forward.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for your informative and collaborative deliberation on this particular topic. We are really thankful to you. Sir, we have got a few questions to ask the participants.
Please.
Yes, so since due to time constraints, we are unable to take many questions. We'll take only a few questions, sir. So one participant is asking that how tourism business will come out from this COVID-19 world pandemic. What is your opinion on this?
My opinion that sometimes we think of tourism separating from other organizations. Tourism, in fact, is a very dynamic industry. I'm confident once we'll have a credible vaccine, people will have the trust and the fear of this COVID-19 will go away. Hopefully, in the next 6 months, the tourism will come up much better, more quickly than any other manufacturing sector. Even any other service sector to tell me tourism, as I know that it will prove its worth, like in the past history. In the last 20 years, if you go through different ups and downs of the globe, once if you go through the tourism specifically, they come up passing these hurdles than of any other sector. I'm quite optimistic of the future business in tourism.
So thank you for your confidence on the overcoming of this particular crisis. So another question from another participant is this: how do you think this COVID-19 will hit the ethical practices of tourism and hospitality business?
Very painful question. If any, when I said very optimistically, if any sector has been very badly hit, badly affected, it is the tourism business. When I say tourism, it's not only the different destinations, it is the transport, whether it is air transport, whether rail transport, any form of transport, or if the hospitality, that are worst affected and very difficult to express it in dollar, how many billions of dollars tourism itself has lost in the last 6 months.
I hope the participant has got the answer. So related to this, another question has been asked by another participant. He's asking, is it necessary to practice ethical practices for tourism and hospitality enterprises to earn profit now?
My friends, it is tourism hospitality has never been given any relaxation not to follow the truth, not to follow the dharma, right action. My friends, tourism is definitely depend more on the interaction with the society than any other industry. When you interact with the society, obviously the person who follows the path of truth, who follows the principles of ethics, he will be accepted by the society. Once you are accepted by the society, you will definitely flourish. So acceptance comes not by cheating. Acceptance comes by serving society. That is what I can expect my students to follow. They should not go by this management by objectives to achieve the immediate short-term goal, but rather they should follow what rightly Chakraborty said, management by values. I think tourism professionals should follow it more strictly than any other professions. It's all professions have to follow, but for tourism, because they deal with human beings more frequently than any other sector.
Sir, another participant, Mr. Anuj Bhattacharya, he wants to know, how is the psychological state of mind going to impact tourism in the near future, as we all are stuck inside home and terribly frustrated as well?
Mr. Bhattacharya, I do realize your concern, but presently we do not have any prescription to. Because tourism will definitely come up once we have faith to go outside safely. Till now, do not have a credible vaccine. We do not have a proper medicine for treatment. Hopefully, in the third stage of our trial in the vaccine, there are some indication that is successfully working with the other animals, and it can work for the human beings. So till that comes, my advice, whether you are in tourism or any other profession, So do it with much caution. With the new normal situation, one has to act. Do not expect that foreign travelers will come to India immediately. When Indians will also not travel to other countries, we have to emphasize our safety part in any other business, so also in the tourism. With that, we have to gradually wait patiently till we have a credible vaccine. No other recommendation at this present stage.
Thank you, sir. Hope the participant has received the answer. Now, sir, this is the last question. One participant, Mr. Dania, is asking: as a service-based industry, tourism showing only positive fact to guests is following ethical values when we are selling our product in international markets.
My question will be this: the reverse. If I do not follow, what will happen? My friends, if that will be a question, how do you react to it? Do you think that in case of tourism, have I said something else which you should not follow at home? Should not follow at your institution? Should not expect that in other professions, suppose said, I told you about in case of medical science, those doctors who are treating the COVID patients, they are always in the threat. You do not know how many doctors, hundreds of doctors have already sacrificed, but still they are not going away. So because their job is to treat the patients, they are prepared to take the risk. So my friend, in the tourism profession, we do not have any other way. More you will be concerned of the others' satisfaction, others' well-being. You will get more satisfaction, and that will enhance the goodwill of the business. And by enhancing the goodwill of business, ultimately you will be together. Yes, there are some organizations have prospered by not following it. There may be, but some they are caught. If some of them have not been caught, you can say they are aberrations. They are not the rules. So you should follow Judge Acharate Sesta, those who have followed the right path. Go through the business history of tourism, who have particularly prospered, who have earned good name and fame. Those have not followed the path of truth, not right action, not the ethical norms, or vice versa. I leave it to you, to your concern.
So we have literally come to the last part of our inaugural session. Before we conclude the session, I have to make an announcement. It is for the general information of all the participants that this particular program is being recorded. So all of you are requested to abide by the cyber etiquettes because this is totally recorded. Okay, so it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks at the inaugural session of this one-week AICT Atal Online FDP on behalf of the Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Mizoram University. At the very outset, I would extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir and Dean Sir for accepting our request for their kind presence in this online inaugural ceremony, and also for encouraging us to conduct a program like this. We are really thankful to you, sir, for your kind support, suggestions, and guidance as and when required. We express our sincere acknowledgement to AICT for sanctioning the fund to organize this program. Also, we express our gratitude to all our distinguished resource persons for giving their consent to be a part of this online FDP. Also, we convey our sincere thanks to Professor L.S. Sharma and Dr. Amit Kumar Singh, Department of Management, Mizoram University, for their continued guidance and support. I will fail in my duty if I do not thank the support staff from Information and Communication Technology Center, Mizoram University, Pro MZU, Pro Mizoram Public Relation Officer, Mizoram University, and the staff members of the Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Mizoram University, for their unstinted support. Last but not the least, my sincere gratitude goes to Professor Sitikantha Misra sir for taking time out of his busy schedule and joined the event as a resource person. Sir, we really got enriched by your vast knowledge and experience. You have indeed set the tone for the whole online FDP. Finally, I am also very much confident that all the participants will feel enriched with knowledge after completion of this event. I welcome you all once again to the online FDP and hope that you all will have a great time ahead. Thank you all. So our next session will start from 12 noon, so you can have 15 minutes break. So see you then exactly at 12. Thank you.